what you got going on, because I think people need to know, bro. People need to know. They want to hear it. So really, the first question that I have for you is, when did this all start? Like, not even just talking about your brand, but like, how did you get into fashion? And then what led you to being like, okay, I want to make my own brand now?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say like I feel like as far back as I can remember, I was very particular about the things I wore, kind of my style. I remember being like 4 years old and like, just saying like, oh, I need these like green Chuck Taylors. I wanted the particular green pair. So I remember just like from a very young age, just like obsessing kind of over like those little details, or being like 8 years old when I started getting into skating, like watching videos on, how to have that skater swag and like getting the perfect jeans to fit. And it's like, so I think it was always for me more about just like overall style and kind of just the way I felt and looked versus like the cultural relevance of everything. And then even in like, then skateboarding, once I got into, so I got into skateboarding around age 8. And like, there's the actual physical element of skateboarding, but there is a whole kind of culture and vibe that comes with it that I was just obsessed with. I started my first brand in middle school. It's called Fractured Supply Co. Me and my homie, definitely inspired by like Diamond Supply Co. That was kind of my way, like Diamond, Supra, Osiris, but then also just all the like DC, Etnies, Huff. So like that was kind of like what I was influenced by at the time. Started dad was sponsoring my like homies that skated and things. And that was kind of my first exposure to like, I don't know, just trying to build something, trying to build a community around that. It was dope just having all the homies like supporting and things. And then from there, I went to like a skate camp. That's when I started getting introduced to like Supreme, Palace. So that was probably like early high school days. People were like, I'm at skate camp trading Supreme 5 panels. People are coming with the fresh Palace hoodies. You like, oh, you like that's fire. Like, so that was like my earlier influences, was definitely more like the skate side of things. And then I'd say junior year of high school, I started making a little bit of money, doing my little jobs and things. And that's when I started looking at like some of the, like the Boost era. So I feel like I'm a little younger than you probably like, I graduated high school in 2018.
Oh, okay.
So like, yeah, it was like 2016, 2017, I started looking at like Ultra Boost, the NMDs and things, and kind of that whole aesthetic that came with that. And then from there, transitioning, once I got to college, I think moving from the suburbs into Philly for school, definitely huge impact. Just like was in awe just seeing people around me, seeing different styles, the different boutiques in the city. Because I would come into the city to skate and things, but that was about it. Like we wouldn't, we were just going around the city little rascals and things in high school and middle school skating. But coming here and being immersed in the culture in Philly, definitely had an impact. I started exploring my style a lot, just trying any and everything. I had some wild pictures in the archives. But I feel like that exploration, like you could call it corny at the time, you could call I'm doing too much, but I think that period of exploration ultimately led to me really developing my style and the things I like. And really like now I don't really need any external influences to know what I like. It's more just like I can look at something and tell you if I like it or not, instantly. So it's just like it's more internalized now, just from like that journey that I had of just trying different things out. So I never knock anybody for like trying to do something that might be a little out of the normal, or even just like copying things at first in your style and the way you dress, because like ultimately you're just learning what you like and don't like. And I feel like that's what taste is at the end of the day. Taste is being able to know internally whether you like something or not, So that's kind of my journey. I'd say I mean, yeah, in terms of the brand and things, that was the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, that's when I really got into more of the design side of things. So like I came home, everything was shut down. I was back home at my parents' crib, and I pulled out my mom's sewing machine from the basement. She had like, it was a little dusty. She hadn't used it in a while. She used to do little repairs and things, but I was like, yo, let me mess with this, see what I can do. And the rest is history, then I just dove right into it. So
Wow, that's fire. I want to touch on 2 or 3 things. First of all, NMDs, they had their moment for sure. Oh, bro.
yeah.
NMD moment. I remember when Pharrell had like the human race NMDs, and I thought those were like the most fire shoes you can come by. I wasn't able to get them because my mom was like, hell no. But those NMDs definitely had their moment. Damn, that took me back.
Yeah, definitely.
So you said you went to school in Philly. So do you think that did that play a part into like you kind of going more into fashion, or was it like you were getting something else, like a degree in something else, and you kind of?
Yeah, I was in business school. I started out in finance because my pops, shout out my pops, but he was just like, yeah, you gotta work your money to make money. He's that type of dude. But I hated it from like my first year. Then I shifted. I was gonna shift to the art school at my college, but like I already had some credits and things built up within like the business school. And overall, I still kind of liked business, like even from starting my own brand in middle school, where like I remember being like 7 years old, doing lemonade stands, kind of just like hustling, So it's like there's the art and like passion side of it and creativity, but also like I've always kind of had a passion for like, how can I build something, or like that feeling of like, providing something and getting something in return. I think I've always kind of chased that in a sense, or just like it's been interesting to me. So like I knew like, all right, I still like business. So I ended up switching to the entrepreneurship program, which I loved. Like that was like one of the best decisions I made. I had professors that were like in their 70s that had built multiple $1 million businesses. My one professor, Dwight Carey, like legend, he had a joint venture with Samsung. I would go to his office for like 3 hours and we would just talk. He would just give me game. He helped me set up my LLC, my trademark, so the entrepreneurship program was, what I jumped into. And I would say it was more or less just like applying my passion to that business side, So I wouldn't say like the business definitely inspired the fashion side. That was more just a personal interest that I kind of figured out, this could be a business as well, So
yeah, it's different when you have somebody that already has been entrenched in what you're trying to do and they put you on game, versus somebody that's like just trying to tell you just like based on what they read. Like when somebody's like, oh, I ran a business multiple and I have XYZ and they put you on game like that. That information is so valuable, bro. Like I don't think people understand. Like I don't know. I feel like if people did more listening than talking, boy, a lot of people would be in a way better spot. Okay. So I think I got the gist of where we was going. So now let's talk about the brand. And again, my French is bad. So how do you pronounce it again?
So it's Chez Rien.
Okay.
Chez Rien. And
so
different dialects. Yeah. People be watching it. We're gonna make a campaign out of that. I'm gonna do like a pronunciation campaign because I feel like that would hit. But Chez Rien. Some dialects would say Chez Rien as well. Like that's not incorrect as well. Like Haitian, more Haitian side of things, or like Canadian French, they would say Rien. And then like over in like France, it's Rien or Rien. You get the look. But Chez Rien, that's how I say it. Keep it simple, smooth.
Okay, so let's talk about the creation of that. Where did that come from? How did you land on the name? Take us to that moment where you're just like, this is where I'm going.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it high level because that can get deep. But basically, like my IG handle is Shay Jackson. that was like a whole backstory, but that was essentially my YouTube. I used to have a YouTube channel. I mean, it's still up, but just all like my old skate videos and things was under that name, which means at the home of the Jacksons. Quick backstory on that. Before I started doing my skate videos and things, my mom and I would make like little cooking videos in the crib. So it was just like at the home of the Jacksons was the name. Started doing more of the skate stuff, stopped doing that. And then when I got to skate camp, you know, I met some of the people from that community I had built on YouTube. It's like 2012. And they were like, "Oh, you're Ches from YouTube." I was like, "Nah, my name is Shay, but my name is just Chris." And they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna just call you Ches." That name stuck with me. Like, went back home and stuck with me all through like high school. You know, I still have homies that'll just like call me Ches to this day. I kind of was like, I accepted it, but then when I was starting the brand, you know, I mean, it was already something so inherent to me. So I knew I wanted to incorporate Ches, but then kind of spin it back to its original French, you know, pronunciation and meaning, Chez, which is kind of rooted in that idea of home. You know, just at the home of, that's kind of what I emphasize when it comes to the name. And then the Rien, that was that was an addition later. When I first launched the brand, some people might remember, I don't know, I feel like we weren't connected yet, but I first launched the brand, it was just Chez. And then, long story short, I couldn't get the trademark on that name. Just went through a bunch of different options, but ultimately landed on Chez Rien with my lawyer, just because like there's a whole, when it comes to trademarks, there's various reasons you get declined, but if it's too similar to another company, they won't approve it. But yeah, Chez Rien, it means at the home of nothing, which is very ambiguous, you know, but I think.
Yeah, I looked it up. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's at the home of nothing. But I really, at this point, I would say it's more of like just the name and what it means. I think the brand over time has kind of created its own meaning and given meaning to that name more than the actual literal translation of it. So what I would say the brand is really just this exploration of home. You'll see that kind of tied throughout a lot of what we do, from the marketing to some of the pieces. We just had the hats with the little welcome home. If you have our packaging, you got the welcome home on the back. But it's really about this idea of like how the word home is really more of a mosaic, and it can mean much more than simply where somebody lives. I think it can mean a lot to each individual, and that's what we kind of try to explore through the people we engage with, some of the campaigns we do, just the curation and like that overall feeling we try to emit with the brand, for sure. So
that's definitely more than I thought. So
yeah.
I thought that's definitely more than I thought. I thought it was literally just like, I mean, I really thought your name was Ches, bro. Like, I don't know why. I thought it was Ches, and I was like, okay, like that. Rion may be like something like with his family, like a family name or something. But like, it's dope actually hearing that, knowing that we've been mutual so long, like hearing the actual story, like how that started.
Sure.
So let's talk about the garments themselves. Like, how do you land on like, okay, this is what I'm doing? Like, how do you get to that point from like sketch to ending product?
Yeah. So yeah, always starts with inspiration. I mean, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but just like I keep like a running folder. I have like a folder in my camera roll with like hundreds, probably nearing 1,000 at this point, of just like references. And that could be literally anything. I mean, sometimes it's clothes. Like if I see something dope, yeah, I'm gonna take that screenshot. I'm not gonna rip it off, but like it inspired me from whether that's like a garment construction technique or whatever. But then some of it's like a tree, or like, you know, even those like the mohair sweaters we did, that was like a pattern that I digitized from like a tree trunk. You know, I love things that feel kind of natural, like even the sweater vest. Like I could have just made it a striped vest, but I kind of added that texture to make it feel a little more organic within the stripes. So I think, yeah, it comes from all over, but I would say I like taking something classic or perfect and then making it feel a little bit imperfect, for sure. And then going into designing, I think a lot of times, so first I try to start like thinking holistically or high level. All right, this is first of all, like how many pieces do I want to put out, big picture, and what is the feeling that I want people to get from this little capsule? And then from there I'll go through, I'll look through my folder and just like, I think having like a library of inspiration is definitely key for anyone like, working on something. I think it just helps you, like, I never get that creative block because I go in there, like, I know this is stuff that at one point in time sparked my interest or like made me feel a certain way. So I just like, it's easy to kind of bring those feelings back up when I jump in that folder. And a lot of times it'll be like piecing things like, all right, I like the fabric from this. I really like the color palette of this like building I saw here. And then I like this little technique, the way they did the embroidery. So I'm gonna throw that on. It ends up being like a combination of different references, which ultimately creates something new. So that's the process. Then we get into it, sketches and everything. Now I work with like designers, some really talented designers on like actual sketches and things. I know how to CAD and everything in Illustrator, but it's been a pleasure also handing some things off, some concepts off to other people that can really bring their self to it as well, like making it something bigger than just me and a more of a collaborative process. And yeah, then we go from there. It's a whole, the product development process, the tech packs, you gotta be really detailed. You're working with manufacturers, but I love the process. Like there is a lot of time spent in the process versus the actual like design. The design is done in whatever, a month, a couple weeks, but then it's like months of, bringing that product to life, so you gotta love the process, to really do this. But
trust me, I've been for a while trying to do and create my own brand, but it's like, I think my niche as far as like is doing this. Like, I love making content. I like getting in front of a camera, recording. I like editing. I've basically learned how to edit. What used to take me like 7 hours to edit, now it may take me an hour.
okay.
Like, I feel like this is my thing, and I've been trying to do clothes, but it's like, it's so detailed, bro. And I'm just like, I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying to be diligent about it, but it's like, it's so detailed. So I'm just like, I definitely feel you on that. Like, you got to really love it to really,
Definitely.
go forward with it. I'm curious though, have you had any, how do I phrase this? Have you worked somewhere that kind of helped you understand the business as well?
Yeah, definitely. So I still work full time. I'm not doing brand yet.
Dang. Okay.
So I work full
Respect.
time Monday to Friday. I work at Gap, which like, shout out Gap. I've learned a ton. I've been there. I'm coming up on 2 years now. I do merchandising, which is basically like product strategy, kind of honestly, like you're basically owning within Gap, like there's a bunch of small business owners of different categories. So I'm on the Gap factory side, which is like our outlet business, which a lot of people think is just like whatever, like the markdown product from the main line, but it's actually, we have our own products on the Gap factory side.
Okay.
So I drive the men's denim and pants business there and shorts as well. And yeah, I've learned a ton just like being in a system like that, kind of learning how to drive a team across functional. I'm working with the designers, I'm working with the production, I'm working with our inventory analysts, and I'm kind of like that centerpiece, kind of moving the whole ship forward essentially. But yeah, it's great. I started out in like a rotational training program there, straight out of college. And that kind of taught me, just like the foundation, like it was basically like a retail immersion of just like, how does $1 billion business operate on that scale? All the little pieces that go into it. And that's definitely helped me a ton of just like how I approach my brand. Because yeah, it's very commercial in nature, but like, I feel like once you combine all those foundational principles that apply to any, business that can ultimately run, the creativity and the fun stuff is only going to help even more, so.
Nah, more respect to you, bro. Having a full-time gig and also trying to do things outside of that and having the energy for it is different. It's
Yeah,
a different ball game, bro. So
trust
yeah.
me. I struggle with it too. There's some weeks where I'm like, damn, I really make no progress on my brand. I'm just tired, but then you just gotta lock in and remember your purpose. So
Yeah, nah, for sure. Definitely gained another level of respect for that because
you,
that's
you work full time?
yeah, full time.
Okay.
Full time.
You
So it's
doing your
like
thing too?
so
Yeah.
like 40 a week. And then when I log out from work, I'll be like, oh, I gotta record a video. And I have to
Right.
like perform in the video too. So it's just like, damn,
Yes.
I just want to chill. But like it is a part of like a higher goal that I want to reach. So because I know this isn't my end goal. So I know
Right.
there's more out there. Um, for sure. And I kind of try to wrap this up. I don't try to keep people for too long, but like, what are 3 pieces of advice that you would give somebody that's like, because for somebody that's trying to do it, and I look at what you're doing, I'm like, okay, you're doing it. So it's like for people that's like wanting to create a brand, like what advice would you give them? 3 pieces, 3 strong pieces.
All right, let's see. All right, number one, I would say take it slow for sure. Like starting out, I think it's easy to like see people doing things and say, "Oh, I just want to do it," and you go do it. Which I'm an advocate for. I'm not the type of person that's like, "Oh, you gotta have extensive years of training and knowledge to then start." No, I believe like start creating things, but take it slow. Do your research. I feel like I jumped into it and put stuff out too fast. And then I ended up actually pausing, before I relaunched the brand with the new name and everything. I took about a year to just like really dig deep, like learn garment construction, learn about fabric composition, design principles, and just like the manufacturing process and like reading, listening to podcasts. It's like I think and that was only 1 year, but I think that 1 year just had a great impact. It just like made my life 10 times easier now as I'm dealing with the inevitable like headaches and things that come with trying to make product, trying to, bring a brand to life. I think just having that foundation of knowledge is definitely one of the key things. You don't have to be like an expert, but yeah, take it slow and learn, like build a foundation of knowledge. That's number one. I say number two. This is something that like I really started locking into once I saw the processes as Gap. But plan way further ahead in advance than you think you need to. Like that's for I think like I struggle with that. I feel like right now is where I'm like finally getting on like a proper development timeline. I'm not just like really rushing towards those drop dates or release dates I have in mind. But yeah, like the more time you give yourself to develop a product, the more authentic and meaningful it's gonna be. You're giving yourself that proper time to like step by step really perfect that product to the highest level of what you had intended. And I think what's hard for some people is to like take their mind out of, especially with clothes. Like clothing is like a very seasonal. There's certain evergreen products that you can wear year round, like jeans and stuff. But like a lot of products are seasonal, like this knit polo with the open stitch or the shorts. You can only wear those within a certain kind of climate and time frame. And it's hard. It could be hard, like when it's the dead middle of fall, to be thinking like, oh, what do I want to wear next summer? But you kind of have to, do that exercise and get ahead of things. Otherwise, you're just going to be rushing to get that seasonal product out, and it's not going to be the best version of what it could be. So yeah, way further ahead. I'm saying like right now, I'm on about like a 7 month ahead timeline, trying to get that back to like 9 to even 11 months. To where I really have a full almost year to develop the most perfect products possible. So, and then number three, this one's short and sweet and simple, but just make things that you truly like and want to wear, and it'll just be that much easier to sell. I think people could just easily tell when something's coming from an authentic place versus when you're just trying to do it, to make some money real quick. Like, as much as I love business, I love growing and, seeing the potential. It's just like, the product is still a place coming from a place of passion and things that I truly want, the gaps I see in my wardrobe. When you do that, the pieces will sell themselves. It won't be forced. It'll feel authentic and like it's coming from a place of love. So, yeah, that's my big three for sure.
Take your time, plan ahead, and then what was the third one?
Third one is just make things you truly like. Just make things you like. And for first one is like take your time / more so, just like build that foundation of knowledge. I would say it's like knowledge. So like take it slow, with that knowledge, plan ahead, way further in ahead. Cause those are kind of both about time, but like, I always, when you're making stuff, you'll find once you get into it, you're always going to be like, damn, I need more time. So that's kind of why I emphasize those. But yeah, and then just make stuff you truly like and love, and it'll sell itself. So
I'm telling you, bro, because I'm over here like, okay. I'm like, that's why I repeated it. I was like, take time, plan it. Because I think that is my next leap. I feel like I have an understanding of this whole space of like creating content. I think I know, and I've shown through social media, I know how to dress, at least to what I like.
Right.
So I feel like there's nothing else to prove in that space anymore. And I feel like that next leap that I take, that next big thing that I do is like, I can start making clothes, because I feel like you, in a sense, where it's like, I look in my closet and I don't know one brand where I could go to and get everything that I know that I would like.
Right.
Like, I have to like, which is not a bad thing. Like I have to go through like 6 or 7 other brands where I'm like, okay, I'm pulling here for this pant. I'm pulling from this brand for these pants, for these shirts, this like, which is cool because those brands that you can like gravitate to, but like there definitely are gaps in my closet where I'm like, if I just made it, I know that it would be in there forever. So yeah, I definitely feel you on that. Like, that definitely is something that I feel whenever I look at my closet. I'm like, there's something missing.
Right. For sure. Yeah, and I feel like, there's nothing new under the sun to an extent of like, we're all influenced by certain things. There's certain things that will be similar. But at the end of the day, like it comes down to like, it can come down to the smallest details of what make me truly gravitate towards a certain product. And like trying to get all those details covered in one product is like, it feels amazing to like get something. You're like, oh, we nailed this. Like this is the whatever it is. This is like that for me, like, yeah, I might have liked it from this other brand, but like I really made it exactly how I like it. That's what's special about it. So
just adding your own touch to it. Nah, I feel that.
For sure.
Man, first of all, I just want to say I appreciate you for jumping on. I know, like, everything is gonna go the way that you want it to, because I see it. Like, I'm not one of them people, bro, that be like, I don't rock with a lot of people. So like when I'm showing love, it's like real genuine. I feel like you definitely have something on your hands that I feel like it's gonna take off. So that's why I was like, I need to get you on here, because I feel like you might open a couple stores. I'm like, nah, I interviewed him. Remember me?
Early.
I'm gonna be standing outside like, no, I remember him. Like, he was on here. But for real though, bro, I appreciate you taking your time out your day, for sure, putting people on game. I think what I'm gonna do is, I'm starting to see people don't want to sit here and watch a full thing. I think you might be the first interview where I break off the articles. That may be his own separate video, and then this piece right here, because I feel like people need to hear this piece, especially. So if they don't want to sit through the whole video, they could just have 2 separate videos where they basically get the whole interview. But yeah, I definitely, bro, for real. Thank you for taking your time out your day.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Greg. Pleasure to come on. Keep killing it.
But without further ado, like I always do, I'll catch y'all on the next one.
But I love the way you work it. Hey, I love the way you work it.